major reason, and the one that is going to engage most people's attention, is the economic argument. And I think we've come a long way in terms of the perception of people elsewhere in the UK about what Scotland can achieve as an independent country. Not so long ago, you had senior politicians and senior business people and senior economists in the government saying things like it was very unlikely that Scotland was going to be able to survive economically. They've all changed their tune now as we've got closer to the referendum itself. The figures have spoken for themselves for quite a while anyway, but I think there's always been an element of politics in this, trying to make the argument that Scotland was dependent. Which of course begs the question, if Scotland was dependent, then why was the Union so good for Scotland anyway? Should we really have this level of unemployment, this low level of enterprise startups, and the kinds of problems that we have in the inner cities at the moment? If the Union was so good for us, surely we would have performed better. I come from a civil service background in London. I used to work for the Ministry of Defence. One of the things that's become clear to me is looking at the role that the UK has played in the world in recent years, that Scotland can play a very positive role. I think we can play a positive role within NATO in arguing for disarmament, and I think we can play a positive role when it comes to being a peacekeeping force, and in terms of looking after our own maritime territory, for example. And there's an increasing interest in the Arctic, for example, and particularly with oil and gas exploration. I know people have concerns about the environment there, but nevertheless, I think with a responsible policy and with responsible companies, which will be whose overall approach will be managed by government, I think Scotland's in an excellent position to take advantage of that. I also have a lot of sympathy for the argument that independence is a normal state for countries, and if we want to look around Europe and the Nordic countries, but also Holland and Austria, for example, there are lots of countries about the same size as Scotland which are doing a lot better. Scotland also wants to take its place within, if you like, a community of economically advanced and socially progressive nations of a similar size elsewhere in Europe. And I'm sure that with the powers of independence, we would be able to do that and to do something about some of the problems which have persisted under the Union for decades.